Good evening. Ira Epstein with your metal market update. This update is for the evening of Thursday, and we're at the 29th of September, 2022, getting on at 6:45 p.m. Central Time. Now, tomorrow's a big event day in this sense. The end of a week, okay, and the end of a quarter, and the end of a month. You got three different aspects going there that chartists look at. Now, it's beyond just chartists. There are plenty of money managers, guys that manage other people's money. A lot of them like to end their quarter on certain notes. People look at that, the month on a certain note. The days don't matter, but were you ahead or behind for the month? And obviously, at the end of the week, the weekly chart's going to fit in on how this looks. So, a lot of events. Always pay attention when they fall apart or come together on the same day. I said fall apart because the market's been falling apart. But maybe we'll get a bounce at this time. You saw the dollar slipping, most currencies up, and look at how this pound is roaring right now. Now, for those of you that get my morning futures video, I have pointed out for 3 days now that you lost the embedded reading, I think it's 3 days, and that I was looking for a challenge, as it confirmed yesterday, that the market should make a run for the 18-day average before it goes under the recent low, which was just made a couple of days ago. So far, it looks as though that's going to happen. It looks to me like you're making the run for that. In the end, be very cautious here. There's a lot of talk as to what the prime minister wants to do, that he wants to shore up the value of the yen. There's some programs he's bringing out. You got to be careful when you hear that kind of talk. And it's the one currency in the world that seems to just want to stay very low. He's not the only one. I take it back. Turkey keeps cutting rates. In the energy, be careful now. Next week, OPEC meets. And, the talk is they're going to cut production. By how much? Don't know. But the market will anticipate the cut, and it'll get a bid because it's not an increase in production, right? Makes all the sense in the world. You've been down very hard in the individual stock indices, but if you look at the monthly and weekly charts, go to the weekly first. Tell me where your 200-day moving averages are, and you'll understand why the market down right now, not at these prices, but where it closed, you're approaching some zones that you might get profit taking. So I'm just pointing these things out to you. When you look at a weekly chart of closes, number one, you're still under the 18-week average. The trend is down. You're up 1% for the week. Fine. You're getting a bounce in the market. When you come to the daily charts, you got a different picture here. If we take a look together here, when you had the big rally, not there, I'm going to come to it now. This is Tuesday. Here's Wednesday. That takes you out of the downtrend. You no longer have that pattern where you're coming down. And what I told you on this day was, now I would say to you, I think that this wave of the downtrend is over. It might be time for a bounce. That's what I've been writing in my newsletter, telling my clients in the morning subscriber video. Where could the market be going? The 18-day average of closes. So often on breaks, that's what these markets like to do in bear markets. Bull markets like to pull back and pause there to see what they're going to do. I can prove this over and over. Does it have to stop there? Of course it doesn't. But typically it does. So I can see where you're getting the relief of having been riding the lower Bollinger Band, certainly since mid-September, riding it all the way down, the Gorilla Glue trade, and you left it, and now you're relieving the pressure. What happens when glue breaks away from wood or anything? It separates. Okay, you ever have a chair you have to glue together because of the humidity and lack of it and the weather changes? I have. I don't know about you. I'm good at that stuff too. And that's what happens. Well, you had your Gorilla Glue trade here. You left it. And often you get a relief rally because of it. Does it mean the bigger picture has changed? We'll discuss that over the weekend when we look at the weekly charts. In terms of momentum, something did change, though. If we come together here and we look, let's see if I can get this to come in. Oh, this should do it right here. There we go. So watch this. Here is the market, and this was yesterday. Day before, let me come to it the day before that. You have your embedded reading. Both numbers, the blue and the red, going sideways under 20. Remember that momentum often leads price. Price doesn't lead momentum. They can go together the same day. And could price lead momentum? I shouldn't say it. On a day of craziness in a market where some event happens, they can both go the same. Maybe price does lead momentum on that. But I'm going to say just about all the time, 99, 98, 97 from my experience percent of the time, it's the other way around, that momentum leads price. And sometimes the neat part is in quieter type situations, or you get a spike like that, it gives you a big edge that day. You're not interested in getting the low of the market. You're interested in coming out when an event happens. This market had been riding the lower Bollinger Band. You get an outside day up and you lose the embedded reading. If you haven't taken charting courses, do mine. It teaches you this. And I'm not just talking the enhanced Bollinger Band, the full charting course. This is to get out of Dodge. Goodbye, I'm gone. Cowboy term for those of you that watch me overseas. Means that the bad guys are coming. We better get out of town. So the good guys where you were in a bear market, now you've lost that. So when I look at it, now what happens? Well, this is what you're doing. Where you're probably going to the 18-day average to figure out what to do next. You had an embedded reading, you lost it. The gold-silver ratio, I said to you 2 days ago, I think you're going to get back up here and the market will then make a decision which way is it going. I was a little surprised the other day, in all fairness, because we were making a run for this right here. And intraday it had hit it, and then by the end of the day it had lost it, because this is a chart of differences. So it's always looking at the end of the day settlement when you look at where it's ending. So it came back up for it today, and it's sort of hanging right there. What does it mean? It means that silver wants to try to rally. But silver's void of a trend. It is caught in like the sideways action. That's the best way to explain it. Think of this as a pipe, a spring, and it's winding inside of it, trying to figure out where am I going next. And it could stay there for a while. But the longer it stays there, it's building inertia, and it will break out one way or the other. In the copper market, you had come down, got oversold, you were riding the Bollinger Band for 3 days, had that reversal type figure, not an embedded reading, so it doesn't have to go back to the 18-day average. It's nice when it does it, but that's about all that I'm looking for. Am I looking for a trend change? No. Why? Because even if you went through right now, 351, I'd have a lower low, higher high. I can't get a trend. The downtrend can stay in place if the market fails at 345.25 and then turns back down from that number. That can happen. In the platinum and palladium, a warning. I keep reading in Africa how they're cutting off the power to the smelters and the mines. And that's where a lot of platinum and palladium come from. And already I'm watching the big names, the big public companies talking they're not going to be able to meet their production quotas. Well, that's not bearish news. That's a bit friendly news, as you know. And yes, I realize interest rates are high and it affects mining operations and so on all over the world. But I keep watching how you produce goods. Lower low, higher high, not a trend, but doesn't act like it wants to break. And all of a sudden you're coming live in the palladium market. I told you I was writing a report about that. In my newsletter, I was writing about this. I think I did it a week ago. And this is what I was looking for. And when we came down to that 100-day average, I was just looking at it going, maybe it's not going to break there. I don't know what to do with it other than I think it's caught. And it keeps saying it doesn't want to make it to the lower level. It suddenly used, all of a sudden, the 100-day average is the catalyst to come up like this. There's nothing to stop it now from going back to the upper Bollinger Band. It's not overbought. It's got all the momentum. Last, the dollar index. Okay, what's going on here? Well, let's step back together. If you take a look, and I'll walk you through this as best as I can, both numbers are not embedded. You need both over 80 to be embedded. Day one, 2, and this was Tuesday, this is yesterday, and lo and behold, you lose that embedded reading on the close of business today, Thursday. Now, when the market opens, I'm going to look to see it for Friday. It's not open yet. Do we start falling further? If we do, the odds favor, very strong, in fact, that you're going to go back to wherever that 18-day average is to rebuild. Where this would be thrown out is if you go through the most recent high that you've made on the chart. Barring that, you don't, at least I don't want to be long anymore in the market. I change my game plan, and I do it very quickly. So I put this all together in such a way, and I explain it in the morning to you so that when I'm recording at 5:20, 5:30 a.m. Central Time, you're getting a picture. And I'm telling you, hey, I'm looking for this to happen. Sometimes they're shorter term trades. Most of the time, I'm what's called a swing trader. I'm in there until it doesn't look good. Can trades last weeks? Yes, they can. Do most last a series of days? That's ideally what a swing trade is. Can they be a day trade? They can if you hit your profit objective and or you're stopped out for whatever reason. That's the only way it's going to be a day trade. I don't set it up to be a day trader in any manner, way, shape, or form, and I'm not going to. So if you'd like to learn more about this, because I talk the morning fundamentals, I will talk to you at the same time what's going on in the market in terms of the weekly charts at times, the daily, every Saturday or Sunday. Sometimes I'm doing them now Friday night. I'm recording your weekly charts for you. So on the weekly charts, instead of looking at the daily, we're looking at the weekly picture for the much longer trade. That's why I tell you, you can be in these things for weeks. A lot of my longer term trades are based off the Saturday or the Friday or Sunday, depends when I record it, weekly version, and those are the bigger trades. They'll typically carry bigger risk than the daily charts, but you're playing for a whole different game. So some people love that and they take it accordingly. It's all explained on my website. Just go to iraepstein.com under the word market research. It's all there for you. Can you come up here and click over my head? You'll see an icon if you move your cursor. You sure could. I'm Ira. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good evening.